Go inside the Huddle with Sky Sports.
Yes, hello, welcome to Inside the Huddle, our second of Super Bowl week. We're building up to, of course, Super Bowl 59, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's our first from Media Row here in New Orleans, and I'm joined as ever by Phoebe Schechter and a special guest. This is what happens when you start to get into Media Row, and we have our Irish kicker, Charlie Smyth, of the New Orleans Saints. Charlie, I was going to say you're a long way from home, but is this starting to feel like home, this city?
Yeah, the longer you're here, like it's kind of like now you're saying I live in New Orleans instead of I live in Ireland. So it's a strange feeling, but yeah, the fact that the Super Bowl is here in New Orleans just makes that even a bit more, special, especially it being your first year in the league. And yeah, look, I'm buzzing to be here, and it's great to be on with yourselves now.
We have lots of questions about your journey, but I think this one's important. First of all, you were an NFL fan before you became a kicker in the NFL,
That's right? Yeah.
How did you get into following the NFL?
Yeah, so I remember my first game I was watching yourselves on Sky Sports coverage. So
I did. Now, Charlie, I didn't know you were going to say that. That's just embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah, that was the first one. So that was the 2016 divisional round playoffs. That's whenever my mates finally convinced me to come in and watch to see what this was about. And in the last 2 minutes of that playoff game, it was the Packers-Cowboys, and there was 3 50-plus yard kicks in the last 2 minutes of the game. So from that point on, something kind of like sparked a wee bit in me that potentially down the line that I could see myself doing it. And just really got engrossed in the NFL and all the coverage that comes with it now in Europe and in the UK and Ireland as well. So yeah, it's been great.
We won't ask who your favourite is, but we'll just leave that. So Phoebe's got questions as well. Let's just move on.
Yeah, good idea. I mean, your journey is so special. Can you tell us a little bit? I mean, you came through the International Player Pathway Program, but how you went from just being a kid from Ireland to now playing in the NFL? Yeah,
it's been crazy. Obviously, I went to my first session last year in Dublin in Ireland with Tag Leader, and I wasn't really enjoying my Gaelic football as much, but at the same time, I'd wanted to try out American football for a long time. And the fact that there was now a pathway in Ireland to, essentially get seen. And then I went to that just for fun. 3 weeks later, I got an email saying that the NFL has opened up its door for kickers and punters.
Yeah. Wow.
From that point on, I was like, this, quietly saying to myself, this could be something here, do you know what I mean? I'm at the perfect age to do it. I was 22 at the time. Just finished 4 years of college in Belfast. So I wouldn't have had any eligibility to play college football anyway. So it's been brilliant. Going from that first tryout to gradually building up those smaller and smaller goals, and going to Loughborough as well for the combine in England, and just from that point on, just kept training and got my spot confirmed with the international program. Then so it's just been small goals, just trying to achieve them the whole way. And look, I'm still not at my end goal yet. I want to be a starter, and I'm confident that hopefully something good's going to happen now in the near future.
What was it like, the International Player Pathway experience, and to have that capped while you're still with all the guys, and then telling the guys, I'm a member of the New Orleans Saints? Yeah,
it was unbelievable. I've just been so fortunate to have met so many great people this past 12 months. James and George and Dom and everybody at the APP, Coach Hagan, obviously Tag was with us as well. We had so many great people helping us out, and it's just been unbelievable. You're going into IMG and you're nearly training like a professional athlete for the first time, because obviously Gaelic football is really competitive and it's really time consuming, but you also have to have a job during the day. So you were getting into the stage where you were preparing for your hobby to be your job, and that was like your daily schedule really.
Right. Yeah.
And just living that professional lifestyle, it was just something I was like, yeah, this is for me now.
You were telling me off air that actually you and Jude McNamee both live only like an hour essentially from each other. And so how did you guys get to know each other, and now you're training with each other in the off season, right?
Yes, we met last week and we spoke about it. Jude's story is really inspiring as well. The fact that he went to Australia, and it was just been unbelievable for him. So I'm really, really happy for him. But probably just through mutual interest that we were both kickers in the NFL. So we're wishing each other well all throughout the season and in the off season as well. And I saw he got signed, and I was really happy for him. But the first time we actually met, it was only recently, to be fair. And yeah, look, it's been great to see how he's getting on, and I was really happy for him that he got to play in a game this year. Yeah. And we actually went to the same college in Ireland, in Belfast, and we're actually going to go there and train together because they've got a good 4G pitch that's kind of surrounded by buildings, so there's no wind. And well, I haven't actually asked them yet, but hopefully they'll let me in now. But
you put it out there
St
now.
Mary's hopefully is let me in. That'll be great now. So
now, see, Charlie, I like your kicks that are impacted by the wind. I mean, we all loved your game winner in the pre-season, but my favourite kick of yours was at IPP, where it was blowing a gale, and you must have set one out 15 yards past.
Oh, it was more than 15.
I don't know how you did it, and bent it in on the wind. It was incredible.
Yeah, to be fair, like...
And you meant it.
Yeah, I did mean it because I'm used to dealing with winds because I live in Ireland, like, so playing Gaelic football all my life, it's you're dealing with 35, 40 mile an hour winds some days, and so just that's something that I felt, I could, once you get the feel for the American football, just adjusting your target lines the further out you are, and that's actually a strength of mine. So like whether it's indoors or outdoors, I feel like I can deal with it, so I just haven't kicked in snow yet, so we'll see how it goes.
Give it time.
Yeah, give it time.
Exactly. I mean, and now we've got you here this week. I mean, opening ceremony last night, the kind of frenzy that is Radio Row. What do you make of all of this craziness?
Yeah, it's just nuts, like just seeing like everybody you watch on TV before you get into it. So it's like, even meeting like yourselves like for the first time, it's great, like, and yeah, I mean, it's just chaos, like, isn't it? It's everywhere. It's just you just see famous people all over the place, and like, yeah, it's just class to see everybody now, I have to say.
Yeah.
You said your job's not done yet, and obviously you got these goals with the Saints. How did it go with the first year? How much did you kind of grow in confidence, and how much are you pushing yourself to hurry up that process? Yeah,
look, a lot of that sort of your timing is out of your control, really. Sure. But the fact that I'm really, really grateful for the Saints. So whenever I first signed, all I was this raw fella with a strong leg. But the biggest thing for me since I've signed with the Saints was the word that every kicker must be is consistent. So just developing those, getting higher percentages every single time you're kicking. So from OTAs, it was kind of I changed my steps, I changed my approach. I was just getting used to working with the best operation in the league with Zach Wood, our snapper, and Matt Hable, our punter and holder. And just working with those guys and getting better every single day. It just really enabled you to get better and just developing confidence, knowing where the ball was going to be at that exact moment. And kicking is such a timing thing because, as you've seen this year, maybe more so than ever, the amount of field goal blocks this year. Yeah. So if you're really slow to the ball, obviously your kicks aren't going to be good. So just developing that and just under the guidance of Rizzy and Phil, our special teams coaches, working with them and them allowing me the freedom to just go about my own thing and try and develop my own style, and under their guidance obviously, and just getting better and better throughout the season. It's just been great now.
And I know that you're just the beginning of your journey and you've got so much to show and prove, but there are definitely a lot of young kids back home that are watching you and are so inspired by you. What are some of the things that you would tell them, or if they want to be the next Charlie Smyth, what would you tell them, almost like you would tell your younger self?
Yeah, basically, I say this to everybody, but it doesn't necessarily have to be kicking in American football. It could be if you've got a dream for anything, like just anything's possible, you know what I mean? And like in my case, I just feel so fortunate that I got the opportunity that I did, but at the same time, it came with a lot of, I feel like I could do this. So like, if no matter how ridiculous something sounds, like being an NFL kicker inside of only doing it for 8 or 9 months. Right. It just shows that, like, if you have a dream, that it is possible if you give it enough time, thought, and are willing to commit to it with everything. And just, you have to make sacrifices for, things to work. And, it's no different for any other dream that anybody else has. In my case, it was kicking in American football, and I just feel very fortunate to have gotten to do that now,
The last one, as we are in the Super Bowl. So have you dreamt of kicking a game winner in the Super Bowl? The confetti goes falling down. And do you know what? It's not that ridiculous, because when you think about where you came from.
Exactly.
And if people had ever said to you, you'd be sat here right now talking about your first year in the NFL. To have that dream, have you had it?
Yeah, I mean, It's actually probably a bigger jump to go from now to kicking, or a less of a jump to go from my position now to kicking a game winner than it was to go from being an NFL kicker, just having thought I could do it. So, look, anything's possible, you know what I mean? So, look, the next goal is just to be a starter, you know, and that's the next goal. And if I just keep winning in these smaller goals, then hopefully that'll lead to the ultimate goal and being a part of a team that could potentially win the Super Bowl. That's just unbelievable, and hopefully that can come true now, you know.
We'll be rooting for you. We'll be cheering you on every step of the way, and when you're a big star, don't forget us.
Definitely not now.
Remember where it started.
Remember where it started, yeah.
All right. Thank you to Charlie Smyth. We wish him all the best, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes on Inside the Huddle. Welcome back to Inside the Huddle, brought to you from Media Row in New Orleans. Neil Reynolds and Phoebe Schechter. And Phoebe is sitting on a booster seat.
If you're watching, called me out.
I just feel like we have to be honest with our audience. They need to know you're sitting on a cushion. Do your feet still hit the floor? They do.
They barely do. They barely do.
Are you comfy?
You know what? It's more about so we can see eye to eye.
Okay, good.
You know,
we
I
always
needed
see
it
eye
with
to
Charlie
eye.
as well because I looked ridiculous.
Yeah, Charlie is much taller than I thought he was. So that's,
you get that comment too, don't you?
I do get that, but yeah, only one of us is a professional athlete, and it's not me.
Only one of you get me sitting on a booster seat. So
hey, it's all good. It's all good. So let's talk about a few things that's been going on the last couple of days since we've been here. Opening night inside the Superdome. Well, first of all, it's only your second one. I've done many of them. What were your impressions of it, your big takeaways?
I think first off, it is still just as mad as ever.
Yep.
I mean, it's still a very cool feeling when, you know, the teams come on stage and then they are just in the crowd with you.
Right, that's suddenly
it's
all
very
mingling
surreal,
around. Yeah.
mingling in with everybody. But I love to see how many more international media outlets there are now.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we're covering the entire world, and special shout out to all my flag football girls that are out there doing their thing too, because there was a lot of that going on. So the night is great, but you have to be ready for the chaos.
You do have to be ready for some chaos. I was trying to get a few questions with some Eagles players. I spoke to Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Brandon Graham. So I got a few.
Any more you want to list?
No, that's it. I've dropped all the names I know. But it was a challenge. And I realized, so like when the mascots come past, like you saw the Chiefs mascot, you saw the Eagles mascot, they were like grown-ups chasing them with their phones to video it. And I'm thinking, when did I move past that and not be affected by it? It was like Disney World when Mickey Mouse goes past.
It's so funny you say that, because actually only just a few minutes ago, our producer, Jacko, was very excited to take photos with SpongeBob and Squidward. So, you know.
Oh, nothing is safe.
Nothing is safe around here. He said it was for his family. I don't know. He was too excited for it.
Head in his hands. You can't come back from that, Jacko. There's no coming back from that.
Yes, the excitement for the mascots is next level.
I just don't
Yes, and we
get
got
it.
him. Got him.
I just don't know if I get it, but there we are.
Great job by our camera crew for getting Jacko's face.
Brilliant.
Absolute legendary.
Brilliant. Hey,
people.
you can shake that off, apparently. Is that a song by someone?
Ooh,
could be.
Starting early. I like
it. What I did gather with the people I spoke to was the Eagles' love for Saquon Barkley. These players love him obviously as an incredible athlete, but also a wonderful teammate.
He is so humble and just, I think he feels so grateful to be here in this situation. I know we talked yesterday in the Chaotic Pod about how he was rooting against the Eagles a few years ago, and now he's here. And I think he's a humble, hard worker, and you just can't get enough of someone like that.
Absolutely. Monday was also Commissioner Roger Goodell's press conference, his kind of annual Super Bowl State of the Union address, if you will. Lots of things that I'd like to touch on and get your opinion on, especially the fact that he said about a professional flag football league for men and women. And then Pro Football Talk followed up with a story off the back of that saying that work is already well underway with this. This could be the farm system the NFL's missing for quarterbacks and receivers, certainly. I mean, this could be fantastic, couldn't it?
Oh, I am so excited for this. And I think you're right. The farm system, you've always talked about how you wish there was somewhere
Something
for like NFL Europe back in the day for players to go to. And what do we say all the time? Flag football just hits on the fundamentals. Throwing, decision-making, catching, angles. You know, Jaden Daniels talks about how flag has helped him so much in his play ability. I mean, you see it on the field. And, of course, for the women, I think it just gives them this platform that they are recognized, but they've been the trailblazers when it comes to getting this sport to the Olympics. If
you are a head coach in the professional women's flag football NFL, will you still come on Sky Sports?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Good.
Look, I'm going to make sure the seasons align.
Yeah,
NFL,
make sure that's a summer
season.
league. The commissioner also talked about 18-game regular season. That is still out there. He said that there's a lot of work to still be done on that, but I feel like that's coming, isn't it? It's just a matter of time and when.
Yeah, look, you've said it so many times. It's going to be like an F1 kind of roadshow, essentially, because you're giving every country the opportunity to be able to have an NFL game, you know, and it's so exciting. It's fascinating how it's all going to work and what that looks like for a full season, what that looks like for traveling teams and families, but we're on the road and it's all heading the right direction.
It certainly is. I mean, internationally, let's see how things go this week. I'm still expecting potentially an Ireland thing. I don't know if it feels like that. The Sun, Herald Sun in Australia, I don't know if they've jumped the gun here, but we can speculate. At least potential for a game in Melbourne in 2026. The Eagles and the Rams was the report. But, I mean, even nothing like that feels off the table anymore. And that's as far as the NFL can kind of go to play a game. And they seem very up for that now.
Yeah, and look, they've got their office out there. You've got an NFL Australia office. You've got the NFL Academy out there. There's a lot of ways that you can support something as big as this. I think that's probably the one that poses the most questions around time zones and you know how that all operates. But like you said, anything is possible, and it's pretty spectacular to think that this was never even on our brains a few years ago. To think there might be a game in Australia, how incredible.
It has gone just so crazy. It's fantastic. We were at Andy Reid's. We're recording on Tuesday. We were at Andy Reid's press conference, the head coach of the Chiefs, this morning. I feel like he's in such control. This is his 5th Super Bowl in 6 seasons. People were asking him about what kind of snacks he likes. Not going to entertain any of that.
Nope.
What kind of superhero would you like to be? Move on. I just, what did you make of how he kind of commands the room and how he leads this team?
I mean, I think that he just has the formula. And that's something we've been saying about the Chiefs all season long. And that hasn't changed at all when you get to this stage. And I think the fact that he's been able to maintain this, and he talked about it, right? Even in games, you get these ups and downs, but you've just got to stay on this solid trajectory. The fact that he's able to do that to the media, which it's not an easy thing, but it's a great way that he's able to protect himself, protect his peace, protect his players as well. I just thought he's so fascinating to listen to because he truly sets the culture. I know he's got great coaches and great veterans, but he is the culture setter in that building.
And he talked about that beyond him, how much that then it becomes about the players to maybe continue the culture, re-emphasize the culture. He talked about that today. I thought that was quite interesting, how those players then have to take ownership of it.
Yeah, and I love that he brought that up because they've had injuries, they've had new players coming in, and it's almost like they just bring them in with warm, open arms, which is unusual, right? We talk so much about the NFL, how hard it is to ultimately, you could be helping someone that's going to potentially take your job. And they're just doing it because they know it's for the greater good. And that's really quite special. And I have to say, one of the things that stood out to me the most was he was able to tell us exactly how many reps in 2 games Kareem Hunt had. His first game back in his
it's amazing.
One. And it makes you just feel, and I love that John Wooden quote, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And he completely embodies that. He cares about every single player on that roster.
He has been a coach who gives a lot of second chances. He believes in that, doesn't he, for his players? I mean, actually, even how many times in a Super Bowl have we seen a coach almost shoved over by his own player? We saw that. That could have been disastrous last year with Travis Kelce. And Andy Reid moved past that. There was all this, is he going to cut Travis Kelce? I mean, This is what he's a very forgiving leader as well, isn't he?
He is, and I think he understands that football. We need you to have emotions in football, right? It's a passionate
yeah,
sport.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's not fully natural to say, hey, who you are right now on the sideline, when you get out there, you're the same person. And so sometimes those emotions flow over from on the field to off the field. And I think he understands, to your point, that second chance. Everyone deserves a second chance. And that comes from understanding people as individuals.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Eagles tomorrow because Nick Sirianni's a very different type of coach, isn't he? Certainly seems to wear his heart on his sleeve a lot more.
He does, and it's really interesting because you think Andy Reid, you got him as a play caller. Nick Sirianni kind of steps back and is, again, a culture setter, but in a very different way, not really with play calling responsibilities. So it almost puts more emphasis on him to be the standard, but I truly feel that Jalen Hurts and those guys in the locker room almost carry more of what that culture is.
Right.
You know, they've got that kind of next play mentality. We're kind of gritty. They really embody the Philadelphia way, ultimately.
Absolutely. So we're looking forward to that tomorrow. So yesterday we did our secret superstars. We also did meaningful or meaningless stats.
Yep.
Today, how about a little bit of finish that sentence for Super Bowl 59?
Okay, I like this.
All right. I'll start.
Lovely. Gentlemen.
Good point. Called out. But you know what? You're right.
You
right. Start.
No.
No?
Maybe. I'll do it.
You go first.
Okay.
You go first.
Finish my sentence.
Okay.
Maybe that was it. Just kidding. The Superdome is?
Pretty old, but absolutely magnificent still. I mean, when we went in there last night, this was built in the 70s. It's one of the oldest stadiums in the NFL, but it's absolutely awe-inspiring. And I think what it is it's not buried into the ground at all. You know, like some of these new stadiums, and when you're in there, it just goes on forever. And it's very enclosed. That sounds really weird. It goes on forever, but it feels enclosed as well because there's no natural light in there.
No.
I think the noise is going to be incredible in there on Super Bowl Sunday. So I've been to a couple of Super Bowls in that stadium before, but being back in there for opening night, I was just, wow, it just struck me. I mean, what did you think of the stadium?
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you about that as well because last time you were there was the blackout game,
lights,
right?
the lights out.
Did you have some flashbacks to those moments?
It was a bit dark in there at times, so I was a bit worried. Yeah, I mean, that was just incredible, that whole thing. The fact that we had a Super Bowl where the lights went out for 34 minutes and everyone's just standing around, no power. That was... I didn't really think about it too much last night, but now
I brought it up.
Yeah, maybe on Sunday I'll completely freak out.
Well, it's funny because I was speaking with Ronit Larone from NFL, and I think being back in there brought a lot of emotion to a lot of people.
Right.
She was reminiscing on the fact that was the first Super Bowl after 9/11. That was the U2 Super Bowl.
Right, yes, I was at that one as well. It was incredible. They had all the names of the 9/11 victims went up behind Bono as he's singing.
Oh my gosh.
It was such an emotional one, that one.
Yeah.
A bit weird in ways as well because it was obviously heightened security.
Yeah.
And walking to the stadium on game day, there are fighter jets buzzing around, just circling around the stadium, which kind of made you feel safe, but also like, wow, we're in a weird time. Yeah. So
Gosh.
it was let me give you your sentence.
Oh, okay.
Okay, mine's a bit more football related. So because you're a coach.
Highlighted bright shiny things.
You're a coach and you play the game, so you're going to give us some analysis.
I got you.
Kansas City's key defender on Super Bowl Sunday will be.
Ooh. Well, I gotta be honest.
Are you torn?
I want to say Chris Jones.
Okay.
But then my mind is also saying Trent McDuffie, and I'll tell you why. First off, you've got
Hope
to be
you
able. I know. We're gonna start somewhere. At least I got a mind in there today. You've got to be able to stop the run, right? Ultimately, or get after Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's going to have to start for this team. But then I'm thinking, if your game plan is to stop Saquon Barkley and stop Jalen Hurts from scrambling, then you turn to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and that's where someone like Trent McDuffie, I mean, his percentage of completions around him is phenomenal because he's got 82% in terms of his not letting people catch the ball around him. And I think he's going to be a really big key and someone that's been in the defense for a few years now.
Chris Jones said on Monday night that this is a pretty obvious statement, but he said it's all going to start with stopping Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. But when you mention McDuffie, I can picture McDuffie not just covering receivers, making those open field tackles on Saquon Barkley is like McDuffie's one of the better tackling defensive backs, isn't he, in the NFL?
He is, and one of the things I loved about being at the NFC game last week was the way you see Saquon move is so different to on TV.
Right.
It is just this one lateral step he does, and he's gone. So someone like McDuffie is going to have to be able to come to balance and really just, in some ways, be patient, in some ways attack, and those instinct decision makings are what's going to be so enthralling in this game.
That's the thing that's the gamble of it. Like, do the Chiefs sell out to stop the run? And feel like Saquon. Everyone's known about Saquon all season long, and he still had 14 100-yard rushing days. That's when you tell somebody is really special, when you know that they are the guy, and no one can still stop them.
Exactly, and you also look to some of the games that the Chiefs have played so far from a run-stopping perspective. They've probably played 4 or 5 pretty quality running backs here. Derrick Henry in week 1, Bijan Robinson, guys like that. Right. They've kept a lot of those guys to under 80 yards.
Yeah.
That's
under less than that.
Yeah, less
58.
than that. 58.
So of the 4.
This is why you're the stat man.
I know.
What would I do
I like this because I like this stat. It's good. So Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, Chuba Hubbard, Bucky Irving. All top 10 running backs. Not one of them had more than 58 rushing yards against the Chiefs this year. That's scary if you're the Eagles.
Absolutely. But do any of them have the offensive line that the Eagles have?
That's very true as well.
I don't know. It's
That's
not the same
true.
getting hit by one of those left tackles as opposed to Jordan Mailata.
No, you are quite true. Right, we're going to finish by playing Finish This Podcast. That's an easy one. We can do that. Of course, we are counting down to Super Bowl 59. We're on air Sunday, 10 o'clock. Game kicks off at 11:30, but we'll be back for more from here on Media Row for another 3 pre-game and post-game from the Super Bowl. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Go inside the huddle with Sky Sports.